So when I took my pro debut, I took it as an opponent. It was the first two pro debuts doing main events in the girls' hometown. I had won the Golden Gloves in 2008. And I was like, hey, might as well, if I can get a buck or two for fighting, let's do it.
She tied a 20-year-old knockout record. She's dropped opponents in under a minute. And now people are asking one question. Is Amanda Serrano the woman who finally hands Dakota Ditcheva her first career loss?
Blood, guts, glory, history made again. Taylor and Serrano with an epic encounter. What more do you want from professional boxing? Simply incredible.
Wow.
Let's be upfront about something important. This is a what if. A fantasy matchup breakdown. Serrano is a professional boxer. Ditcheva is a professional mixed martial artist. They compete in different sports, under different rule sets, and there's no fight actually booked between them. What we're doing here is comparing two of the most dominant, dangerous women in combat sports right now, breaking down their styles, their records, and asking, on paper, who would have the edge?
Pin down, move first, don't rush. Good right hand, lovely. Oh, good shot. Keep the forward pressure. You're feeling these shots, good. Stay close, stay on them. Yes.
Go for it.
Our body's hurt.
Let's start with the boxer. Amanda Serrano's professional record sits at 49 wins, 4 losses, and 1 draw. 32 of those wins have come by knockout, tying her with boxing pioneer Christy Martin for the most knockouts in the history of women's professional boxing. Serrano got there by finishing fights, not just winning decisions.
And she was the very first Puerto Rican undisputed world champion. And she is the current reigning unified featherweight champion of the world. Damas y caballeros, presentando a la campeona unificada del mundo, Amanda, the real deal, Serrano.
Speed is part of the equation too. On January 18, 2019, Serrano faced Austria's Eva Vorarlberger for the vacant WBO super flyweight title. It lasted 35 seconds, 1 round, 1 title, 1 blink, and you missed it finish.
I don't party, I don't have a boyfriend, I don't own a cell phone. I'm just truly,
Big right hook again.
dedicated to the sport of boxing. Greatness requires sacrifice, and I sacrificed a lot to be where I'm at now. So it definitely changed me as a
Ask anyone who shared a ring with her, and the theme repeats. Serrano hits like nobody else in the sport. She's been called the hardest puncher in women's boxing history. And CompuBox data has repeatedly ranked her among the leaders in power punches landed per round among active female fighters. That's not hype, it's built on fight film and championship URSUMs.
There's a right hand that rocked Garula.
Maybe the strongest testimony comes from her fiercest rival, undisputed champion Katie Taylor, the only fighter to ever beat Serrano, and the one who did it 3 times in one of the greatest trilogies in boxing history. After their 3rd fight in July 2025, when asked whether she'd fight Serrano again, Taylor didn't hesitate. Her answer? She punches too hard. When the woman who's beaten you 3 times still says that, you know the power is real.
Time that. And there again.
Ooh, nice shot.
She rattled Taylor here in round 1. Serrano's power on the
Serrano's calling card is her left hook, thrown from a natural southpaw stance. That angle causes problems for orthodox fighters who aren't used to power coming from that side, and Serrano has made a career out of walking opponents into it.
And again, just digging down at body, as Sergio pointed out. And De Silva not showing much resistance there as Serrano just peppers away at De Silva.
Now to the other side of this hypothetical. Dakota Ditcheva is undefeated 16 fights, 16 wins, 0 losses. 12 of those wins have come by knockout or TKO, 1 by submission, and 3 by decision. As of early 2026, she's ranked #1 in the PFL women's flyweight division. And she made history as the youngest champion in PFL history and the first British woman to win an MMA world title. capping that off with a body shot TKO of former UFC title challenger Tyla Santos in a $1 million tournament final. Ditcheva's background is different from Serrano's in an important way. She didn't come up purely as a boxer. She started in kickboxing and Muay Thai as a kid, winning multiple world junior titles, then added Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu once she transitioned to MMA. That means her toolkit is wider. She can knock you out standing with knees, elbows, and punches. Look at how many of her wins have come from body shots and knee strikes, but she can also take a fight to the ground and finish it with a submission, like she did against Malin Hermansson with a rear naked choke. Where Serrano is a come-forward boxer who lives and dies by that vicious left hook, Ditcheva is a finisher with far more weapons available to her. Her striking shows real variety, and her ground game means opponents can't just plan for stand-up. Let's put this side by side. Amanda Serrano is a pressure fighter. She closes distance, throws heavy combinations, and breaks opponents down round by round with volume and power, especially to the body. Her southpaw left hook is the single most dangerous weapon in women's boxing, full stop. But she's a boxer. Her tools are her hands, her footwork, and her boxing IQ, refined over more than 15 years and 50-plus professional fights. Dakota Ditcheva is a finisher across multiple disciplines. She has knockout power in her hands like Serrano, but she also has knees, elbows, kicks, and a submission game that Serrano's boxing background doesn't include. Under pure boxing rules, Serrano's experience and precision would likely be the difference maker. She's fought elite, world-class opposition dozens of times. Strip away the gloves-only, hands-only format, though, and Ditcheva's game becomes a completely different puzzle. Ask who wins a boxing match, and Serrano's Ursum is nearly unmatched in the sport. Ask who wins where kicks, clinch work, and the ground are allowed, and Ditcheva's all-around game gives her tools Serrano has never had to develop. Here's the honest answer. Amanda Serrano is a phenomenal athlete and arguably the hardest-hitting woman to ever lace up gloves. In pure boxing, she's proven at the highest level against the best boxers alive, including a trilogy with Katie Taylor that will be studied for decades. That's not a threat to dismiss in any conversation about combat sports' most dangerous women. But the next Dakota Ditcheva implies something specific: a fighter who can do what Ditcheva does, in the discipline she competes in, with the same variety of finishes and a similarly spotless record. That's not really a fair comparison yet, because Serrano's excellence has been built almost entirely in the boxing ring, not the MMA cage. She dabbled in MMA years ago, a submission win, and a draw in her cage debut, but that was long before her current run as boxing's most dominant champion. What's genuinely interesting is the what-if two combat sports legends from different worlds. Fans arguing forever about who the harder puncher really is. Whether Serrano could step into a cage, deal with kicks, clinch, and a submission threat, and hand Ditcheva a first career loss is a different question entirely, and honestly, we don't have enough information to say. It's a great hypothetical, not a booked reality. Let's lay the Ursums out one more time, because the numbers alone tell a story. Amanda Serrano, 49 wins, 4 losses, 1 draw, 32 knockouts, world titles across 7 weight classes, and a Guinness World Record for the most boxing world championships won across different divisions by a female fighter. First, undisputed 4-belt champion, male or female, from Puerto Rico. That's a Ursum built on volume, longevity, and finishing power against murderer's row opposition. Dakota Ditcheva, 16 wins, 0 losses, 12 finishes by strikes, 1 by submission, PFL Women's Flyweight World Champion, and the youngest champion in PFL history. Still in her 20s, still undefeated, and still climbing. That's a Ursum built on perfection and finishing rate. She's stopped 3 out of every 4 opponents she's faced. Different sports, different metrics for greatness, but both numbers say the same thing. Get in the ring or the cage with either woman and expect the fight to end early. Honoka Tsuji, better known to fans as Hono-chan, may look like one of the sweetest fighters in combat sports. With her model-like appearance and adorable smile, she doesn't exactly look intimidating outside the ring. But once the fight begins, everything changes. With a 5-5 record, Honoka has built her reputation through toughness, pressure, and a willingness to stand and fight. She may not have the perfect record, but that doesn't mean she should be underestimated.
ラッシュですね。極真仕込みの。
And now, she could be facing one of the biggest challenges of her career, Mona Kimura. Mona Kimura is a highly respected fighter with an undefeated record. But Honoka could have the tools and fighting style to make this a very difficult matchup.
Mona Kimura, that's where it's at. The real-life Chun-Li. I covered her 2 weeks ago. As a quick recap, she only uses her legs. Almost.
The contrast between them is what makes this fight so interesting. Mona brings her skills and confidence, while Honoka brings the hunger and determination of a fighter with something to prove.
さあ来るところカウンターで本田右
Outside the ring, Honoka may look harmless. Inside it, she's a completely different person.
早いですね。そう、左手も伸びてくるんで。
And if everything goes her way, Honoka Tsuji could shock everyone and become the first fighter to hand Mona Kimura her first professional loss. This matchup has people talking, and why an undefeated record doesn't always mean what people think it means. Let's start with the fighter everyone's already obsessed with. Mona Kimura was born April 12, 2001, in Gifu, Japan. She didn't wander into combat sports by accident. She was raised inside it. Karate starting at age 4. 7 consecutive national junior karate championships before she was even a teenager. Then she pivoted into boxing, where she won a national junior featherweight title in 2019 and went on to represent Japan at the World Amateur Boxing Championships in 2022. That is an elite amateur resume before she ever threw a single professional kick. Most fighters spend years building toward that kind of pedigree. Kimura arrived with it already built.
前蹴りが鋭く伸びてきます。
前蹴りをね、避難しながらもですね、決して、手を打ちない。
女子のアマチュアでこれ以上ない。ボディだ。これはノーダウンです。そうですよね。第1ラウンド。
She turned pro in kickboxing in November 2024, fighting under the Krush banner, which sits inside the K1 family of promotions, one of the most respected striking organizations in the country. Her debut ended in a first-round knockout. She hasn't lost since. She currently sits at 4 wins and 0 losses, a mix of finishes and decisions, most recently a win over a South Korean opponent at a K1 event earlier this year. Then the internet found her, and everything changed. Clips of Kimura's leg work, fast, snapping, relentless, started circulating online. And fans everywhere landed on the same comparison. She moves like Chun-Li. And it wasn't just a joke about looks. Her kicking combinations genuinely echo the character's signature flurries, sharp, fast, and thrown in combination rather than one at a time. It got big enough that even Curtis 50 Cent Jackson reacted publicly to a clip of her in action. A 4-fight professional going semi-viral on a global scale is rare air for anyone this early in a combat sports career. Style-wise, Kimura is a technician first and a brawler never. She likes to fight at range. She stays composed under pressure, and she picks opponents apart with sharp, accurate kicks instead of trading in phone booth exchanges. Here's the catch though, nobody has forced her to fight going backward yet. Nobody has tested whether that composure holds up when the fight turns ugly instead of clean. Now here's the fighter who might be exactly the one to ask that question. Honoka Tsuji fights out of Chiba, Japan, and competes in the same general weight range Kimura is circling. The lower atomweight and strawweight class that has quietly become one of the most stacked divisions in Japanese kickboxing right now. Her story actually starts with a loss, and that matters. Back in October 2022, Tsuji made her professional debut against Honoka Kobayashi, a fighter who would go on to become a ranked atomweight contender in her own right. And Tsuji dropped a majority decision in that fight. That is a tough way to start a career, stepping in against someone who'd eventually be ranked in the top 10 in the world. But she didn't fold after that setback. Tsuji kept building, picking up wins over Miyu Sakata and Yuika Iwanaga on her way to claiming a regional atomweight championship. She has also dropped decisions since then, including a loss to the dangerous Koto Hiraoka and another defeat earlier this year. So her record is genuinely a mixed bag. It is not a highlight reel of pure dominance, and that's actually part of what makes her dangerous. She has been in real fights, against real levels of competition, win or lose. In a way, plenty of undefeated prospects simply haven't experienced yet. And like Kimura, Tsuji has a life and a following outside the ring. She has done modeling and digital photo work, and she's built an audience on presence and personality as much as on finishes. It's a story you hear a lot with these rising Japanese strikers. Adorable outside the ropes, something else entirely once the gloves come on. So what actually happens if these two are ever booked against each other? Kimura wants distance. She wants to pick a shot, snap a kick, reset, then pick again. She is comfortable being the one who dictates range, and every single fight so far has let her operate exactly the way she wants to. Her opponents, so far, have absorbed her rhythm instead of disrupting it,